Hey, do you have an Amazon Echo? If so, Popcorn Finance now has an Alexa skill. All you need to do to set it up is just say, Alexa, enable Popcorn Finance. And that's it. And you can listen to this episode and all of the previous episodes directly from your Amazon Echo. So why not give it a try and let me know what you think?
Hey, just wanted to say thanks a lot. That's a great show and good information. I really look forward to checking your show out every week, man.
Hey, this is Chris. Hope you're doing well, and welcome to Popcorn Finance, where we discuss finance at about the time it takes to make a bag of popcorn. Appreciate you coming back, joining me here for another episode, and a big thanks to Michael for sending in that call-in. It's always great to hear from you all, so please call in, send me an email, contact me on social media. It helps me stay motivated and lets me know that people are actually listening to the stuff that I'm doing here. So, it really makes a difference, and I really, truly do appreciate it. And thanks again, Michael, for calling in. If you want to leave a voicemail like Michael, all you have to do is go to popcornfinance.com, and there's a little voicemail button right there on the side of the page, or just check out the show notes. I'll have a link in there as well. And sorry if I sound a little weird today. I'm recovering from a sinus surgery I had a few days ago. I'm still a little out of it, so hopefully I don't sound too much like a zombie or like I'm half asleep. I'm trying to keep my energy up here, but it took a little bit out of me. I'm a little tired, but I'll survive. I'll be fine. But I didn't want to leave you all without an episode. And we're right at the end of the Popcorn Finance Side Hustle series, and I really wanted to wrap things up with this week's episode. So I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. I can sit in front of a microphone and talk for a little bit, because I want to close out the series with this really great call-in that I received from Curt. I put out a call to any of the listeners out there who are doing a side hustle, who wanted to share a little bit of their story, and Curt answered the call right away, and he shared a couple of really interesting side hustles that he's doing right now.
Hey, Chris, this is Curt from Minnesota. I just want to tell you about some side hustles I got going on. Loving the show, by the way. So I do IT full-time, and then on the side, which is running me about 10 hours a month, I do support for a real estate app and software company, and that's it's really just answering emails and questions and setting up memberships. Pretty easy stuff, and it's a little extra pocket change. And then I also have a rental property down in Memphis, which I'm moving to Memphis on Friday. And why I do it, the software support is used to fund my next real estate deal, and then the cash flow from my current real estate deal is to do the same. I just want to keep adding more houses to my portfolio. And then I think one thing that a lot of folks don't talk about is doing a side hustle multiplier. That being, moving to a tax favorable state. I'm moving out of Minnesota down to Tennessee, and the cost of living is about 20% cheaper, and then the tax rate is much more favorable. So the money I'm already making, I'm just going to keep more of it. And I think that's something that's not talked about too much. But anyways, love the show. Keep up the great work, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks.
Thanks again for calling in, Curt, and sharing a little bit about the side hustles that you're working on right now. It was really interesting. And, there's a couple of things I wanted to touch on that Curt mentioned. So first was, it sounds like the side hustle he's doing, where he's doing some technical support for an app, it sounds like that's related in some way to his skills that he's obtained from his primary job working in IT. I could be wrong, but that's what it kind of sounds like. And I think often we forget that, in our day job, we're actually obtaining skills. We're learning things. We're becoming experts in particular areas that we may not even realize that we are, because, sometimes, I've been there. Your job is not always fulfilling, and you kind of just going in just to get a paycheck. You're not really thinking about what you're doing. It just becomes a routine. But the fact is that you're actually becoming very skilled in particular areas. And there are times where people are willing to pay for your expertise and skill in these areas. So I would say first, if you're looking for a side hustle, don't overlook the skills and abilities that you've obtained in your regular 9-to-5, whether it's, maybe you've become really good at speaking in front of a group or explaining things. Maybe teaching is something that you do and you can teach others, maybe through like a tutoring service. Maybe you work with numbers on a daily basis and Excel is your thing. There are a lot of people looking for help working in Excel on platforms like Upwork and Fiverr. Or you're like Curt and you're really good with technology, and there's tons of people out there who are just scared of even touching a computer, and maybe providing some type of tech support for those who aren't as comfortable as you are with computers could be a side hustle that maybe you haven't considered. So, don't overlook what you do for your day job as inspiration for a side hustle. Second, and I hadn't heard this worded this way, I think he put this a really interesting way. It was a side hustle multiplier. And what he means by that is, he's moved to a lower cost of living area and an area with decreased taxes, which in itself boosts whatever income that you're bringing in because, you've reduced your expenses and you're having less of that income taken away from you. And I definitely understand this because I'm getting hit in the opposite direction in both of these areas. Since I live in Southern California, cost of living is ridiculously high. I think we have some of the highest income tax in the country. So I'm not really doing a great job of taking advantage of either of those 2 points that Curt made there. But I think it's something that definitely should be considered because part of the purpose of a side hustle is to increase your earnings to, achieve whatever goal it is that you may have. But one way of increasing your earnings is by decreasing your tax liability. So, if that is an option for you and you can find work in another area, then maybe looking at an area with lower income tax might be an option for you, especially if that comes along with a lower cost of living. So no, that's a really interesting point you brought up there, Curt. I'm happy you mentioned that because you're right. I don't think this is brought up too often at all because it is a big change. That is a big life change for you to make in order to take advantage of those items. But if it is a possibility and you are interested, maybe it's something that, you can look into. So thanks again, Curt, for calling in. I think this was a great way to wrap up our side hustle series. If this is the first episode in this series you're checking out, then please go visit popcornfinance.com/side hustle. And there you'll be able to listen to the other 6 episodes in this series. So far during this series, I've had some great guests join me. I had the Financial Panther come on. He's a full-time attorney who also does a ton of these side hustles on the side, from food delivery to dog walking, all these great things. I had the bookkeeping artist come on. She's a tax accountant who shares some great tax prep tips for you side hustlers out there, things to kind of keep in mind. I had Maggie Germano come on. She's someone who took her side hustle and turned it into her full-time job. Jamila, she took on a vending machine side hustle that didn't turn out quite as she thought it would. Bobby Rebel joined me. She's an award-winning TV anchor who joined me to talk about, the real hustle behind the side hustles that we perform. And then most recently, I had Jason from wealthhound.com come on and talk about a really interesting side hustle that he had in high school where him and his friend cleaned up a bunch of dead fish off of the beach for a couple of weeks. So overall, the series has been a ton of fun. So if you haven't checked out any of those episodes, please feel free to do so. And, even though the series is over, that doesn't mean that you can't still share your side hustles with me. So, if you have an interesting side hustle that you've done, or even just something that maybe, you don't think is interesting, but, maybe it is, because a lot of people don't actually try out side hustles. So I'd love to hear your story and share it here on the podcast. So feel free to visit popcornfinance.com to leave me a voicemail to share your story, or just contact me on social media and I can just read it on a future episode. Oh, and like I mentioned, I've been out of commission this past week, so as far as my side hustle update, I haven't really made much progress. During the side hustle series, I've been trying out the Amazon merch program where you can design and sell t-shirts all through the Amazon platform, but I have not done much work because I've been a little busy with work and had to take a couple of days off to recover, so hopefully I'll be back up and running on that full force next week. And last week I mentioned I was going to be doing a special giveaway over on Instagram for this side hustle series. So if you go check out Popcorn Finance Podcast over on Instagram, you can see who won, and make sure you give the account a follow because I'll be doing more giveaways in the future. You can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook. Just search for Popcorn Finance and I'll be on there. Pretty easy to find. And if you've noticed, for the past few weeks, I've been putting out these special quick pop episodes, which is what I'm calling them right now. But I'm looking for a name for these episodes. These are really quick, short form, rapid fire question episodes that I do with guests who've been on for the regular episodes. But here it's a little more fun, a little more laid back, and it's just a way to get to know the guests a little bit more. So I came up with the idea, quick pop, but I don't know if that's actually going to stick around. So I'm looking for some naming ideas. So if you have a suggestion, please send it my way. I actually got a great recommendation from @Gilly_SJ on Twitter. He sent me the idea Extra Butter, which I actually like that. It's like a little extra butter to go along with the main episode that went out. So that's definitely in the running. So if you have an idea, just reach out to me. You can send me a message on any of the social media platforms or just shoot me an email over at questions@popcornfinance.com. And hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, please subscribe. You can subscribe anywhere you can find podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Store, Spotify, all those great places. I guess wherever you're listening to this right now, you can also subscribe there. And, as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, you can now get the Popcorn Finance Podcast on your Amazon Echo. So all you have to do is say, Alexa, enable popcorn finance, and you're all set. You're good to go. So as always, I appreciate you joining me here for another bag of popcorn. Hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.